the perfect life shattered. Arya Chen stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling windows of her downtown office, watching the sunset paint the city in shades of orange and gold. At 28, she had everything she'd ever dreamed of: a promising career as lead architect at Sterling Design Group, a beautiful apartment overlooking the harbor, and most importantly, a wedding planned for next spring with Marcus Reed, the man she'd loved for 3 years. Her phone buzzed with a text from Marcus: "Running late for dinner, babe. Meet you at Lumiere at 8? Arya smiled, typing back a quick response. Tonight was special. She had just won the bid to design the new Central Arts Museum, a project that would put her name on the map. She couldn't wait to celebrate with Marcus and her best friend Victoria, who had promised to join them. But fate had different plans. The discovery. At 7:30, Arya decided to surprise Marcus at his office. She stopped by his favorite bakery and picked up the chocolate croissants he loved. The Reed Enterprises building was mostly empty when she arrived, her heels clicking against the marble floors as she made her way to the executive suite. The door to Marcus's office was slightly open. Arya raised her hand to knock when she heard voices inside. Her hand froze in midair. "We can't keep doing this, Victoria. Arya's getting suspicious." Marcus's voice was heavy with guilt. Arya's heart stopped. "Victoria? Her Victoria? You promised you'd leave her after the merger." Victoria's voice came next, sultry and demanding. "I'm tired of being your secret, Marcus. I love you." The words that followed felt like knives piercing Arya's chest. I know. But Arya's father has connections we need for the Harbor Point deal. Once that's secured, I'll end it. I promise. Besides, you know Arya's just convenient. You're the one I really want." Arya's vision blurred. The bag of croissants slipped from her fingers, hitting the floor with a soft thud. The voices inside went silent. The door swung open. Marcus stood there, his shirt partially unbuttoned, his face going pale. Behind him, Victoria adjusted her dress, her lipstick smeared, her eyes wide with shock that quickly turned to something else: defiance. "Arya, I can explain," Marcus started. But Arya couldn't hear him over the roaring in her ears. She turned and ran, ignoring Marcus calling after her, ignoring the curious stares of the security guard in the lobby. She ran until she reached her car, tears streaming down her face. The gala disaster. 3 days later, Arya had barely eaten or slept. She'd ignored over 100 calls from Marcus and 50 from Victoria. Her mother kept asking what was wrong, but Arya couldn't bring herself to say the words out loud. Saying them would make it real. The Sterling Design Group annual gala was tonight. As the newest award winner, Arya was expected to attend and give a short speech. She considered canceling, but her boss had been so supportive of her career. She couldn't let him down. Arya wore a stunning emerald dress that hugged her curves and highlighted her dark eyes. She held her head high as she entered the grand ballroom of the Riverside Hotel, determined not to let anyone see her pain. But the universe wasn't done with her yet. Halfway through the evening, as Arya stood near the champagne fountain talking with colleagues, she saw them. Marcus and Victoria, walking in together. Victoria's hand was possessively wrapped around Marcus's arm. They were laughing, radiant, acting like they belonged together. Arya felt the room spin. Before she could escape, Marcus spotted her. He whispered something to Victoria and started walking toward Arya. "Arya, please, let me explain," he said, reaching for her hand. She jerked away. "Explain? You've been sleeping with my best friend and using me for my father's business connections. What's there to explain?" Her voice was louder than she intended. Conversations around them stopped. People turned to stare. Marcus's face hardened. "Don't make a scene, Arya. You're embarrassing yourself." "I'm embarrassing myself?" Arya's voice rose. "You cheated on me with my best friend." Victoria walked over, slipping her arm through Marcus's. "Oh, Arya. Did you really think Marcus loved you?" He was with me the whole time. You were just too blind to see it. The crowd gasped. Camera phones came out. Arya's boss rushed over, his face concerned. Perhaps we should take this somewhere private, he suggested gently. But the damage was done. By morning, the video would be everywhere. Architect Arya Chen's public meltdown would trend on social media. Her reputation would be in pieces. The mysterious stranger. Arya fled the ballroom, her vision blurred with tears. She stumbled through the hotel corridors until she found herself in a quiet garden courtyard. She collapsed onto a stone bench, her carefully constructed life crumbling around her. That was quite a scene in there. Arya's head snapped up. A man stood a few feet away, partially hidden in shadows. He stepped into the moonlight, and Arya's breath caught. He was tall, easily over 6 feet, with dark hair styled perfectly, sharp cheekbones, and eyes so intense they seemed to see right through her. He wore an expensive black suit that fit him like it was custom-made. Everything about him screamed power and wealth. "Who are you?" Arya asked, wiping her tears hastily. "Damien Cross," he said, his voice smooth and deep. "And you're Arya Chen, the architect who just had her heart broken in front of 200 witnesses." Arya flinched. "Are you here to mock me too?" "On the contrary, Damien said, sitting down beside her on the bench. He maintained a respectful distance, but Arya could feel the heat radiating from him. "I'm here to offer you an opportunity." "What kind of opportunity?" Arya asked suspiciously. Damien's lips curved into a slight smile. "Revenge." "The proposal." Arya stared at him. "You don't even know me. Why would you help me?" "Let's just say I have my reasons," Damien said. "Marcus Reed and I have history. He cost me something very valuable once. I've been waiting for the right moment to return the favor." "What did he do to you?" "That's a story for another time," Damien said. "Right now, you need to decide. Do you want to crawl away and let them win? Or do you want to show them what Arya Chen is really made of?" Arya thought about Marcus's smug face, Victoria's cruel smile, the camera phones capturing her humiliation. Something inside her, something she didn't know existed, stirred to life. "What did you have in mind?" she asked quietly. Damien's smile widened. "First, we need to rebuild you. You're going to walk back into their world more powerful, more successful, and more beautiful than they ever imagined. You're going to make Marcus Reed regret every moment he didn't choose you." "How?" Arya asked. "By tomorrow morning, I'll be a laughingstock. My reputation is destroyed." "Your reputation at Sterling Design might be damaged," Damien agreed. "But what if you didn't need Sterling Design? What if you worked for Cross Industries instead?" Arya's eyes widened. Cross Industries was one of the biggest development companies in the country. "You're offering me a job?" "I'm offering you a partnership," Damien corrected. "You're talented, Arya. I've seen your work." "The museum project?" "Brilliant. You don't need Sterling Design. You need a platform that matches your abilities." "And in return?" Arya asked. "What do you get?" "The satisfaction of watching Marcus Reed's world fall apart," Damien said simply. "And perhaps the pleasure of working with someone who actually appreciates loyalty and trust." The fall from grace. Over the next week, Arya's life fell apart completely. The video from the gala went viral. News outlets picked it up. Her inbox filled with messages from colleagues offering sympathy that felt more like pity. Her boss called her into his office. "Arya, you're incredibly talented," he said gently. "But the board feels that given the recent publicity, it might be best if you took some time off." "Time off?" Arya repeated numbly. "Extended leave. Unpaid. Just until things settle down." Arya understood. She was being fired without being officially fired. They were protecting the company's image. She cleaned out her desk that afternoon, carrying a small box of her belongings through the office while former colleagues averted their eyes. Only one person met her gaze, Jessica, a junior architect who Arya had mentored. "This isn't fair," Jessica whispered. "You didn't do anything wrong." "Life isn't fair," Arya replied softly. "But thank you." As Arya left the building for the last time, her phone rang. "Damien. Have you made your decision?" he asked. Arya looked back at the building where she'd poured 3 years of her life. She thought about Marcus and Victoria, probably laughing about her downfall. She thought about the dreams she'd had, now lying in pieces. "Yes," she said firmly. "I'm in." "When do we start?" "Tomorrow," Damien said. "Meet me at Cross Tower at 9. "And Arya?" "Wear something that makes you feel powerful. The old Arya Chen is gone. Tomorrow, we build someone new." The first step. That night, Arya stood in front of her closet, staring at the clothes Marcus had always complimented. The soft pastels, the modest cuts, the safe choices. She realized now that she'd been dressing for him, molding herself into what he wanted. No more. She pulled out a sharp black pantsuit she'd bought on impulse but never worn. Marcus had said it was too aggressive, too masculine. She laid it out for tomorrow. Then she did something she'd been afraid to do for 3 days. She looked at her social media. The comments were brutal. Strangers calling her pathetic, desperate, embarrassing. Some even blamed her for Marcus's cheating. But buried among the cruelty were other messages. Women sharing their own stories of betrayal. People saying they admired her strength for confronting Marcus publicly. A few architecture students saying her work inspired them. Arya realized something important. Yes, she'd been humiliated. Yes, her heart was broken. But she was still standing. She was still breathing. And with Damien's help, she would do more than survive. She would rise. As she fell asleep that night, Arya made herself a promise. Marcus Reed and Victoria Hayes would regret the day they betrayed her. She would become so successful, so powerful, so undeniably brilliant that they would choke on their regret. The old Arya, the trusting, gentle, forgiving Arya, was gone. Tomorrow, a new Arya would be born. And she would be unstoppable. Part 2, The Game of Revenge, 2,000 words. The transformation begins. Arya arrived at Cross Tower at exactly 9 o'clock. The building was a masterpiece of modern architecture, all glass and steel, soaring 50 stories into the sky. As she stepped into the lobby, she felt small, insignificant. Then she saw Damien waiting by the elevators. He was even more striking in daylight, commanding attention without trying. When he saw her, his eyes flickered with approval. "The suit was the right choice," he said. "You look like you mean business." "I do," Arya replied, her voice steady despite her nerves. Damien's office occupied the entire top floor. The view was breathtaking, overlooking the entire city. Arya could see Sterling Designs building from here, a small, insignificant structure compared to Cross Tower. "This is where you'll work," Damien said, leading her to an adjoining office. It was twice the size of her old workspace, with state-of-the-art equipment and that same stunning view. "I've already had your credentials transferred. As far as the industry knows, you're Cross Industries' new Chief Design Officer." "Chief Design Officer?" Arya repeated, stunned. "Damien, I don't have the experience." "You have the talent," he interrupted. "Experience is just time, and you'll get plenty of that. But talent? That's innate. And you have it in abundance." Over the next month, Damien proved true to his word. He introduced Arya to influential clients, gave her high-profile projects, and most importantly, helped her rebuild her confidence. He also became her friend, or something like it. They worked late nights together, ordering takeout and discussing designs. Damien had an unexpected appreciation for architecture, asking insightful questions that pushed Arya to think differently. Slowly, she began to see glimpses of the man behind the cold billionaire exterior. "Why are you really helping me?" Arya asked one evening as they reviewed blueprints. Damien was quiet for a long moment. "Marcus Reed destroyed someone I cared about once. My sister, Elena. She was engaged to him 5 years ago." Arya's blood ran cold. "What happened?" "He used her the same way he used you, for her family's connections. When he got what he needed, he humiliated her publicly and left her for someone else. Elena never recovered. She moved to Europe and hasn't spoken to me in years." Damien's jaw tightened. "So yes, I have personal reasons for wanting to see Marcus suffer." Arya reached across the table and touched his hand. "I'm sorry." Damien looked at her hand on his, then met her eyes. Something passed between them, understanding, connection, heat. He pulled away gently. "We should focus on the work," he said, his voice rougher than usual. But Arya had felt it. And she suspected Damien had too. Uncovering the truth. 2 months into her new position, Arya received an unexpected visitor. Jessica, her former mentee from Sterling Design, showed up cross tower looking nervous. "I shouldn't be here," Jessica said, glancing around Arya's impressive office. "But I found something I think you need to see." She pulled out a folder stuffed with documents. "I was organizing old files when I found these. They're emails between Marcus, Victoria, and your former boss, Robert Sterling." Arya's hands trembled as she read through the emails. The truth was worse than she'd imagined. Marcus and Victoria had been planning this for over a year. They'd targeted Arya specifically because of her father's political connections and her rising star status at Sterling Design. The plan was for Marcus to marry Arya, secure her father's support for his business deals, and then divorce her while keeping the connections. Victoria's role was to stay close to Arya, gathering information and sabotaging her when necessary. The public confrontation at the gala? It hadn't been spontaneous. They'd planned it to destroy Arya's reputation so completely that no one would believe her if she tried to expose them. But the worst part was Robert Sterling's involvement. He'd known about the affair and had encouraged it, believing that keeping Marcus happy would secure future business deals for his firm. "There's more," Jessica said quietly. "Marcus is about to announce a massive development project, Harbor Point Resort. It's worth hundreds of millions. And he's using designs that look suspiciously like yours. The ones from your private portfolio." Arya felt rage boil inside her. "Victoria stole them. She had access to my computer." "What are you going to do?" Jessica asked. Arya looked at the documents, her mind racing. "I'm going to destroy them. All of them. The plan takes shape." When Damien heard about the emails, his expression turned dangerous. "This is better than I hoped. We have everything we need to ruin him." "It's not enough to just expose him," Arya said. "I want him to feel what I felt. The humiliation, the betrayal, the loss of everything he worked for." Damien studied her. "You've changed. The Arya I met 2 months ago wouldn't have said that." "The Arya you met 2 months ago was weak," she replied. "I'm not her anymore." "No," Damien agreed softly. "You're not. You're stronger. Better. But Arya, revenge is a dangerous game. Make sure you're willing to pay the price." "I already have," she said firmly. Together, they crafted a plan. First, they would use cross-industries resources to create a competing proposal for Harbor Point, one that would blow Marcus's stolen designs out of the water. Second, they would slowly leak information about Marcus's business practices to key investors, creating doubt without revealing their hand. And third, they would wait for the perfect moment to drop the evidence of his fraud. But they needed one more piece, Marcus's trust. "He needs to believe you've moved on," Damien said. "That you're no longer a threat." "How do we do that?" Arya asked. Damien's eyes gleamed. "We give him a show. Let him see you happy, successful, and most importantly, interested in someone else. You, Arya realized. Me, Damien confirmed. We'll attend events together. Make it clear we're involved. It'll drive Marcus crazy and make him underestimate you. It was a smart plan. But as Arya looked at Damien, she wondered if pretending to care for him would be as easy as he made it sound. The first move. The annual Developers Gala was the perfect opportunity. Everyone who mattered in the industry would be there, including Marcus and Victoria, who were now openly together. Arya spent hours getting ready. She wore a stunning red dress that hugged every curve, her hair swept up elegantly, diamonds glittering at her throat and ears, gifts from Damien, though he insisted they were just props. When Damien picked her up, his reaction made her pulse quicken. He stared at her for a full minute before speaking. "You're going to stop hearts tonight," he said quietly. "That's the plan," Arya replied, trying to ignore how her own heart raced when his hand settled on her lower back as they walked to the car. The gala was in full swing when they arrived. Arya felt every eye turn toward them as they entered. Whispers followed their path. The scandal from months ago hadn't been forgotten, but her transformation was impossible to ignore. She was no longer the humiliated woman from that video. She was Arya Chen, Chief Design Officer of Cross Industries, on the arm of one of the most powerful men in the city. And then she saw Marcus. He stood across the room, champagne glass frozen halfway to his lips, staring at her with an expression she couldn't quite read. Victoria was beside him, her face twisted with jealousy. "Ready?" Damien murmured in her ear. "Ready," Arya confirmed. Damien pulled her close and led her onto the dance floor. His hand was warm on her waist, his other hand engulfing hers. They moved together perfectly, as if they'd been dancing for years. "He's watching," Damien said. "He looks like he's about to break his glass." "Good," Arya replied, letting herself lean into Damien's embrace. "Let him suffer." But as the music swelled and Damien's eyes locked with hers, Arya realized something dangerous. She wasn't entirely pretending anymore. Being this close to Damien, feeling his strength, seeing the way he looked at her, it stirred something real inside her. "Arya," Damien said softly, and there was a warning in his voice, as if he could read her thoughts. Before she could respond, someone tapped Damien's shoulder. "Marcus. Mind if I cut in?" Marcus asked, his smile forced. The confrontation. Damien looked at Arya, letting her decide. She nodded slightly, and he stepped back with obvious reluctance. Marcus pulled Arya into his arms, and she fought the urge to recoil. Up close, she could see the dark circles under his eyes, the tension in his jaw. "You look good," Marcus said. "Really good." "Thank you," Arya replied coolly. "I've been wanting to talk to you. To apologize." "Apologize?" Arya laughed bitterly. "Now? After everything?" "I made a mistake," Marcus said, his voice urgent. "Victoria and I, we're not working out. I realize now what I had with you. What I lost." Arya couldn't believe what she was hearing. "Are you serious?" "You destroyed me, Marcus. You used me, cheated on me, humiliated me publicly. And now you want me back?" "I was confused," Marcus insisted. "The pressure from work, from Victoria, I wasn't thinking clearly. But I see now. You're the one I should have chosen. You're the one I want." For a moment, Arya felt a flicker of her old self, the part that had loved this man, that had dreamed of a future with him. But then she looked over Marcus's shoulder and saw Victoria watching them with venomous eyes. She saw Damien standing at the edge of the dance floor, his expression unreadable but his body tense. And she realized something important. Marcus didn't want her back because he loved her. He wanted her back because she was winning. Because she'd moved on. Because she was with someone richer, more powerful, more successful than him. His ego couldn't handle it. "No," Arya said firmly. "What?" Marcus's confident expression faltered. I said no, Marcus. I don't forgive you. I don't want you back. And I never will. You're making a mistake, Marcus said, his grip on her waist tightening. Cross is using you just like you think I did. Men like him don't actually care about women like you. Women like me? Arya repeated dangerously. You know what I mean. You're talented, sure, but you're not in his league. He's playing a game you don't understand. Arya pulled away from Marcus. The only person who ever played games with me was you. And I'm done playing. She walked away, her head high, feeling Marcus's stare burning into her back. When she reached Damien, he extended his hand, and she took it gratefully. You okay? He asked. Better than okay, Arya replied. That felt amazing. Damien smiled, a real smile. Not his usual controlled expression. You're magnificent when you're angry. I learned from the best, Arya said, squeezing his hand. As they left the gala together, Arya didn't look back at Marcus. She didn't need to. She'd already moved forward. But what she didn't know was that Marcus's rejection had just pushed him to do something desperate. And desperate men were dangerous. The unexpected complication. Over the following weeks, Arya and Damien fell into an easy rhythm. They worked together during the day and attended social events together at night, maintaining their facade of a relationship. But the lines between pretend and real were blurring. Late one night, working on the Harbor Point proposal, Arya looked up to find Damien watching her with an intensity that made her breath catch. What? She asked. You have pencil marks on your cheek, he said, reaching across the desk to brush them away. His fingers lingered against her skin. Damien, Arya whispered. This is getting complicated, he admitted, his hand dropping. I know, Arya agreed. What are we doing? I don't know, Damien said honestly. But I know this started as revenge, and now. He trailed off. Now it's something else, Arya finished. They stared at each other across the desk, the air between them charged with possibility. Then Damien's phone rang, shattering the moment. He answered it, his expression darkening as he listened. I understand. We'll be ready. What is it? Arya asked. That was my contact at the Planning Commission. Marcus just submitted his Harbor Point proposal. The decision meeting is in 2 weeks. Arya's stomach tightened. Then we need to finish ours. Arya, there's something else, Damien hesitated. Marcus is spreading rumors that you stole the designs from Sterling Design. He's trying to discredit you before the meeting. Rage flooded through Arya. He's the one who stole my designs. I know. And we'll prove it. But you need to be prepared. This is going to get. Arya stood up, her decision made. Then let's get ugly. I'm done playing nice. Marcus Reed is going down, and I'm going to enjoy every second of it. Damien stood as well, walking around the desk until he was inches away from her. Are you sure? Once we do this, there's no going back. I've never been more sure of anything, Arya said, looking up at him. Damien's eyes searched hers, then he nodded. Then let's destroy him. But as they returned to work, neither of them realized that their feelings for each other would become both their greatest strength and their biggest vulnerability in the war ahead. Part 3, Hearts and Reckoning, 2,000 words. The final preparation. The 2 weeks before the Harbor Point decision flew by in a blur of sleepless nights and endless revisions. Arya poured everything she had into the proposal, creating designs that were innovative, sustainable, and breathtaking. This wasn't just about beating Marcus anymore. It was about proving her worth, to the world, and to herself. But Marcus wasn't going quietly. The rumors he spread grew more vicious. Colleagues who had started respecting Arya again began to question her integrity. Former clients withdrew their interest. Even some of Cross Industries' board members expressed concerns. He's playing dirty, Arya said one evening, her voice tight with frustration. Then we play dirtier, Damien replied. I have the evidence Jessica gave us. I can release it any time. No, Arya said firmly. Not yet. We do this the right way. We win the Harbor Point project based on merit. Then we expose him. Damien looked at her with something like admiration. You're a better person than I am. No, Arya corrected. I'm just smarter. If we expose him first, people might think we're just being vindictive. If we beat him first and then expose him, no one can claim we're acting out of spite. The truth will speak for itself. When did you become so calculating? Damien asked, a hint of a smile on his lips. I had a good teacher, Arya replied, meeting his eyes. The tension between them had been building for weeks. Every accidental touch, every lingering glance, every late night working side by side, it all added up to something neither of them could ignore anymore. Arya, Damien said softly, stepping closer. After this is over, after Marcus is dealt with, we need to talk. About us. I know, Arya whispered, her heart pounding. But before either could say more, Arya's phone rang. It was Jessica, and she sounded panicked. Arya, you need to see this. Marcus just posted something on social media. It's bad. The public attack. Marcus's post was calculated cruelty. He'd written a long statement claiming that Arya had stolen intellectual property from Sterling Design, that she'd been fired for unethical behavior, and that she was now using her relationship with Damien Cross to hide her incompetence. The post included doctored emails that appeared to show Arya taking credit for other people's work. Within hours, it had thousands of shares and comments, most of them condemning Arya. This is character assassination, Damien said, his voice cold with fury. We're releasing the evidence. Now. Wait, Arya said, even though her hands were shaking with anger. Let me think. She read through Marcus's post again, analyzing every word. Then she saw it, the mistake. In his rush to destroy her, Marcus had overplayed his hand. Some of the dates on the doctored emails were wrong. The stolen designs he referenced included work Arya had created before she even joined Sterling Design. He's desperate, Arya realized. He's making mistakes because he's scared. Scared of what? Damien asked. Scared that we're going to win, Arya said, a slow smile spreading across her face. He knows our proposal is better. This is his last-ditch attempt to disqualify us before the presentation. So what do we do? Arya's smile turned sharp. We respond. Professionally, calmly, with facts. And we make him look like exactly what he is, a liar and a fraud. Working through the night, Arya crafted a response. She didn't attack Marcus directly. Instead, she calmly laid out the timeline of her career, provided proof of when she'd created each design, and pointed out the inconsistencies in Marcus's claims. She ended with a simple statement. The truth doesn't need embellishment. It stands on its own. I look forward to presenting my work to the Planning Commission and letting the quality speak for itself. The response was perfect. Public opinion began to shift. People who'd been quick to condemn Arya started questioning Marcus's story. Journalists began investigating. And Marcus, realizing his plan had backfired, went silent. The presentation day. The Harbor Point decision meeting was held in the city's largest conference hall. Every major developer, investor, and city official was present. Arya arrived with Damien, wearing a sharp navy suit that made her look every inch the professional she'd become. Marcus was already there with Victoria by his side. When he saw Arya, something flickered in his eyes. Was it regret? Fear? Arya didn't care anymore. Marcus presented first. His proposal was polished and professional, but Arya noticed the flaws immediately. The designs were technically sound but lacked vision. They were safe, predictable, uninspired. They were, she realized, exactly what she would have created a year ago, when she was still trying to please everyone. Then it was her turn. Arya took the stage, and for a moment, she was back at the gala where everything fell apart. But this time was different. This time, she was in control. Harbor Point isn't just a piece of land, she began, her voice clear and confident. It's an opportunity to create something that will define this city for generations. My proposal doesn't just meet the requirements. It exceeds them. As she walked through her designs, the room fell silent. She'd created something extraordinary, a div allotment that seamlessly blended residential, commercial, and green spaces. It was sustainable, beautiful, and most importantly, it would serve the community, not just wealthy investors. When she finished, the applause was immediate and thunderous. Arya caught Damien's eye in the front row. He was smiling, not his usual controlled expression, but a genuine smile of pride and something deeper. The planning commission didn't even need to deliberate. They announced their decision immediately. Arya's proposal won unanimously. The truth revealed. As Arya left the stage, reporters surrounded her, asking for interviews. But she pushed through them, looking for Damien. She found him in the hallway, and without thinking, she threw her arms around him. "We did it," she breathed. "You did it," Damien corrected, holding her close. "That was all you, Arya." When they pulled apart, Marcus was standing a few feet away, his face ashen. "Congratulations," he said bitterly. "You got what you wanted." "What I wanted?" Arya repeated. "Marcus, all I ever wanted was to be loved and respected. You took that from me. But you know what? You did me a favor. You showed me what I'm really capable of when I stop trying to be what someone else wants." "This isn't over," Marcus said, his voice low and threatening. "Actually, it is," Damien said, stepping forward. He pulled out his phone and showed Marcus a screen. "These are the emails Jessica found. The ones proving you and Victoria conspired to use Arya. The ones showing you stole her designs. I'm releasing them in exactly 1 hour, along with a full report on your fraudulent business practices." Marcus's face went white. "You can't do that. It'll ruin me." "Yes," Arya said coldly. "It will. Just like you tried to ruin me." "Please," Marcus said, and for the first time Arya saw real fear in his eyes. "I'll do anything. I'll give you money, connections, whatever you want." "I don't want anything from you, Marcus," Arya said. "Except for you too. Make him look like exactly what he is, a liar and a fraud." Working through the night, Arya crafted a response. She didn't attack Marcus directly. Instead, she calmly laid out the timeline of her career, provided proof of when she'd created each design, and pointed out the inconsistencies in Marcus's claims. She ended with a simple statement. "The truth doesn't need embellishment. It stands on its own. I look forward to presenting my work to the Planning Commission and letting the quality speak for itself." The response was perfect. Public opinion began to shift. People who'd been quick to condemn Arya started questioning Marcus's story. Journalists began investigating. And Marcus, realizing his plan had backfired, went silent. The presentation day. The Harbor Point decision meeting was held in the city's largest conference hall. Every major developer, investor, and city official was present. Arya arrived with Damien, wearing a sharp navy suit that made her look every inch the professional she'd become. Marcus was already there with Victoria by his side. When he saw Arya, something flickered in his eyes. Was it regret? Fear? Arya didn't care anymore. Marcus presented first. His proposal was polished and professional, but Arya noticed the flaws immediately. The designs were technically sound but lacked vision. They were safe, predictable, uninspired. They were, she realized, exactly what she would have created a year ago, when she was still trying to please everyone. Then it was her turn. Arya took the stage, and for a moment, she was back at the gala where everything fell apart. But this time was different. This time, she was in control. Harbor Point isn't just a piece of land, she began, her voice clear and confident. It's an opportunity to create something that will define this city for generations. My proposal doesn't just meet the requirements. It exceeds them. As she walked through her designs, the room fell silent. She'd created something extraordinary, a div allotment that seamlessly blended residential, commercial, and green spaces. It was sustainable, beautiful, and most importantly, it would serve the community, not just wealthy investors. When she finished, the applause was immediate and thunderous. Arya caught Damien's eye in the front row. He was smiling, not his usual controlled expression, but a genuine smile of pride and something deeper. The planning commission didn't even need to deliberate. They announced their decision immediately. Arya's proposal won unanimously. The truth revealed. As Arya left the stage, reporters surrounded her, asking for interviews. But she pushed through them, looking for Damien. She found him in the hallway, and without thinking, she threw her arms around him. "We did it," she breathed. "You did it," Damien corrected, holding her close. "That was all you, Arya." When they pulled apart, Marcus was standing a few feet away, his face ashen. "Congratulations," he said bitterly. "You got what you wanted." "What I wanted?" Arya repeated. "Marcus, all I ever wanted was to be loved and respected. You took that from me. But you know what? You did me a favor. You showed me what I'm really capable of when I stop trying to be what someone else wants." "This isn't over," Marcus said, his voice low and threatening. "Actually, it is," Damien said, stepping forward. He pulled out his phone and showed Marcus a screen. "These are the emails Jessica found. The ones proving you and Victoria conspired to use Arya. The ones showing you stole her designs. I'm releasing them in exactly 1 hour, along with a full report on your fraudulent business practices." Marcus's face went white. "You can't do that. It'll ruin me." "Yes," Arya said coldly. "It will. Just like you tried to ruin me." "Please," Marcus said, and for the first time Arya saw real fear in his eyes. "I'll do anything. I'll give you money, connections, whatever you want." "I don't want anything from you, Marcus," Arya said. "Except for you two."